All right, Doug, we are live.
We are.
This is the first podcast officially, so cheers. Sorry about last week, by the way. I know that I didn't post a video. I've been trying to mix up the content a little bit, and I've been trying to figure out like what works and what doesn't. And this is kind of a new thing that we're trying. So like, we both like to watch podcasts and listen to podcasts and YouTube videos and stuff because like we get a lot of value from seeing other perspectives and like basically just being able to see what other people think about different things. And so we thought, with our perspectives, we would share them a little bit because that's what we enjoy doing. And so this is the Absurdity podcast. We figured we'd talk about like communication and psychology and like just absurd hypotheticals and things that we go over that we think are fun and like entertaining. And maybe you guys think they're fun and entertaining and get some value from it.
Hopefully.
So
if not, you're in the wrong place.
And I'm Nick, by the way. I'm sure you guys know that because you're on Landshark Lifestyle right now. And this is the Absurdity podcast, which might take off as its own thing, maybe not. This is Doug. You guys know Doug, I'm sure, too.
This is like a very bad introduction.
It's an awful introduction, but it's the first one.
You ever brought like a new friend to like meet like your people, like maybe like John, and you're like, hey, this is the guy.
Like you know someone real well, and then you think like this is who they are and how they
fit
are.
in.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
And then it's like, hey, this is the gym partner. This is John. This is his. Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work.
It's very awkward.
Yeah, just like right now. But yeah, we always talk and like we spend a lot of time just talking about literally everything, and so we thought it'd be fun to just do it on a platform where other people can watch. Because like I just want to explain the premise of it because like there's a thought behind it. You know what I mean? All right, let's get into it. So we wrote out some questions that we wanted to answer because they're things that we talk about all the time. So let's get started. The first thing is how to be more neutral, or as a question, I guess, like how would you be more neutral or why?
Well, being neutral sounds like more of a theory, so like what am I applying it to?
So like the way that we were kind of talking about this beforehand was if there's different pieces of your life, if you're going to do something or if you're engaging with different people, then in my opinion anyway, the best strategy is to be very neutral, to like be objective, to look at the facts and look at the way things are actually laid out, try to look at things objectively so that way you're not as biased. And that's kind of the idea behind it. But me and you have always gone into different avenues with it.
Mainly because what is objective?
Well, that's the kind of argument, I guess, is like there is no objective. Everything's kind of a gray area. But when you look at specific situations, then you can kind of figure out like we were talking about earlier, is there a right and a wrong? Is there a good and a bad?
Yes, but like what's right and wrong, like there's ethical theories, right? And then there's applied ethical theories, which is what we use in like our economy and countries, because it's like whatever everyone says like the laws are, that's what we agree is morally right or morally wrong.
As a society.
Correct. So how do you apply that into like your day-to-day life? Because you really can't. You have to like pick and choose what's important to you, and like I think logic takes over what should be the most like morally like normative dominance. So you shouldn't be like, well, in this society like they say this is wrong, so I'm going to act this way, which when it comes to religion is another topic. But
they're all the same. All the authorities, all the structures of authority.
Yeah.
Religion, government.
But like, what are your virtues? What are your morals? How do you decide that?
I think that's probably what it lands on is like, what are your values? Because everybody can have different values and beliefs, but a lot of them are overlapping. Like most people can agree that killing someone's the wrong thing to do.
Yes.
That stealing is the wrong thing to do. There's like overlapping things that are agreed, but then there's a lot of gray area because there's the whole thing of like, would you steal bread to feed your family? Like is, the ethical dilemma of
does the motive justify the means?
Yes.
Or what is it? What
does the action or
does the action justify the means?
Yeah.
Or does the means justify the action? How does that go?
I'm not sure, but I know what you're talking about.
So there's an action, there's means behind the action, and then there's an end result. So there goes the means or intentions cause the action, and actions cause the end result.
Yeah.
The action could either be morally good or wrong based off of the end goal, but we also have to take into account the reasoning, because like let's say you pushed like some lady out of the road. You push some lady out of the road and onto the sidewalk. Let's say there's two different scenarios. One scenario is because there was a car coming. The other was like maybe a domestic abuse.
So there's two completely different sides.
And what makes one morally right or wrong is the means. What did you mean to do?
Well, the intention.
The intention.
Because we always talk about, like, we always get into this type of debate, I guess, or this kind of conversation, because we just enjoy communicating and enjoy, like, body language and enjoy, you know, interacting with groups of people and seeing how everything plays out. Mm-hmm. And so this is a huge, like, the intention behind what's happening is a huge, huge point.
Well, let me ask you this. If, let's use the same analogy, if the guy pushes some lady out of the road because he thinks she's about to get hit by a car, and it turns out there's no cars, and then she's badly hurt.
But you explained it that way.
But still, like, even though you meant well, the action was bad and the end result was bad.
Yeah. But that's into the form of communication. So, like, in the structure of communication, there's, like, the initial thought, then there's the way that it's, like, molded into a medium, so like speech, you know what I mean, or paper or whatever if you're writing it, and then there's like the intention behind it, what you mean to be saying, but then the other side of it is the other person is receiving it through that medium, so like speech in this example, and however they interpret it is up to them. There's no way to really like make sure that the intention is the same as the way it's being received, that's the biggest form of miscommunication.
But what is morally right?
Well, there is no necessarily like morally right or wrong, because it's just like it's inevitable. It's like a game of telephone all the time.
Shouldn't you strive to do the right thing?
Yes.
What is the right thing then?
It's up to you.
But I can't just say like killing people is morally right to me.
Well, no. I mean, but this is a huge conversation because we can't sit down and literally find a solution to right and wrong right now. I don't think that's going to happen. But we were talking about neutrality.
Yes.
So the idea of like right and wrong, the idea of neutrality is kind of being okay in the gray area. Is like, hey, there is not necessarily a right or a wrong or a black and a white. You know, at times there might be, but given different circumstances, then it wouldn't be the same thing anymore. So the thing that was right is no longer right, and the thing that's wrong is no longer wrong. So that's like my idea of neutrality, is always being in the gray area and being okay with it. Because when you're in the gray area, you could be in the black or the white, depending on who you're talking to. They could think that you're wrong or right, and you're just kind of in the middle.
But what are your wants and needs in neutrality?
I don't really have, I guess, like wants or needs with it.
Is that just because you're worried about being neutral?
Not necessarily. It's not like, that's what I'm trying to explain, is it's not like a worry. It's more or less just a way of being. It's like a state of being. So like if I'm going to interact with people, I'm going to go into it and try to just be fluid. You know what I mean? So if I'm talking to someone, I'm going to kind of let them guide a little bit, see where their black and white boundaries are. And then from there, then I can start to insert myself a little bit. You know what I mean? I could start to talk to them and start to talk to the group or whatever else I'm interacting with, and you can start to mold into it a little bit. But if you go in and you already have black and white boundaries, now they kind of have to adjust to you. So it's harder to intertwine yourself.
If you go into a situation neutral with someone that has certain wants, positive or negative, and you interject into the conversation as you say you will, aren't you going to formulate like things that you want? Like, won't you find like things you want to interact with?
Yeah.
So like, why do you want those things?
Well, see, I guess it's different for every person. But like in my case specifically, I really enjoy learning about other people. And I really enjoy learning about like where other people's boundaries and black and whites and where their values and beliefs and stuff lie. I think that's really interesting. So to me, that's kind of the goal, is to just find out more about whoever I'm talking to. Like even, so I just started Ubering, for all of you guys that do not know. I just started Ubering, and I've been having a blast with it. I mean, like, a blast. I couldn't have asked for a better little side gig. And it's just because I'm getting all these people in the car, and they're all different. Every single one of them, like, from different states, from different part of, you know, the United States or the world, and they all do different professions, and they're all so different. But it's super interesting because they tell me about their life every time. They tell me like what they like and what they don't like. They'll complain about the last Uber or where they were just at the bar, or like they'll tell me that they're, you know, a UFC fighter or something. Like there's always these different things going on, and to me, I love learning about it. So the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to be neutral and to not have a structure that you're going in with, because then they'll try to look at your structure and kind of blend in too. So if I go in as neutral as possible, and I'm just like here to be interested in what you're saying, then everything kind of flows together. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but like, how do you think other people perceive that?
I'm not sure. I always try to think about that a little bit, and I'm not entirely sure how people perceive it. But I have noticed that people have been telling me that I've been very neutral. So I guess it is somewhat noticeable. But I feel very strongly about this.
I don't think people like you being neutral, though.
I don't think people like it either.
Because everyone is the center of their own world, right? Yes?
Pretty much.
Everyone sees themselves as the main character, and it's kind of true.
Less.
It's like, you're the only one going in the grave, so like,
yeah.
Why bring other people in? And the only reason people bring other people into their lives is for themselves. It doesn't say that there's not like respect for the other person or appreciation, love, like what have you.
Yeah.
But when you go into something neutral with somebody, what they're searching for is some sort of connection. So if like I went to you and I was like, I just got robbed, Nick, what do I do? And you're like, well, first of all, you should have prepared for this.
That's something I would say. But like, Doug, you should have been prepared.
you didn't buy a gun. You didn't have a knife. You lost your taser.
No taser.
Your tampons weren't in. So, I mean, there's like, in like a bad situation like that, people are going to ask you to console them. And you don't do that.
That's so hard for me. Like, so me and Doug talk about this a lot too, because everybody goes through different, we'll say turmoils or different sufferings.
Triumphs and tribulations.
Yeah, exactly. Trials and tribulations. Everybody has different challenges that they go through. And I like to help people with their problems. I love to like give solutions and try and help. But my version of helping is like a little harsh. And it's hard to not do that, because like to me, that's what works. Like if people are harsh with me, and if people are telling me this is the solution, this is how it needs to be done, in a very emotionless way, that works for me. Like that helps me to solve the problem. But it's not necessarily like that for everybody. So I've been trying to kind of work on it a little bit. You know what I mean? Try to be a little bit more outwardly empathetic. But my like plan of action is different. Like I don't know. I want to give you the solution as quickly as possible. I want it to be as efficient as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're very different. You're very like let me help you and let me like, you know what I mean, make you feel better, which I appreciate. That's why we work together well.
That's why I want to be a doctor.
Exactly.
So I enjoy like helping people, and I like people wanting my help.
Yeah. Everybody does though.
Whenever someone like gets my help, whether they ask for it or not, and doesn't appreciate it, I'm just like, you're gone.
A little salty.
Yeah, like there's definitely been people in my life that have like, I'd say, taken my like personality, my love for other people, and like how I am, who I am, for granted. And if I feel that way, I exit those people out of my life.
Yeah.
Because there's no need to drag people into your life that aren't supporting you, don't appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, you are who you surround yourself with.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, because I keep seeing this one guy on Instagram that I know, and he's kind of a smaller guy, but I always see him, he's like a motivational speaker guy. And so he keeps like going to these different events with other motivational people, and like I can see him actively surrounding himself with the people that he's interested in, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting though, because I knew him, you know, probably for like about a year or so, and I saw him kind of growing into where he is now. But I just thought it was interesting because he really is like maximizing the idea of surround yourself with who you want to be like, kind of thing.
The only problem I have with that is, what if you lose people that still mean well?
What do you mean?
Say like I met somebody that was homeless, that, you know, wasn't trying to be a doctor, wasn't like trying to like make the most amount of money as possible, but I thought like he was like someone that was understanding, someone that I thought had a lot of intellectual meaning, had like a good perspective. Like, it's hard like to surround yourself with people that you would say are good, that are supporting you, are the people you want to be, when there's other people that don't necessarily want that, like what you want, but are still like really enticing and like in your life and like have some sort of meaning.
Do you have a homeless person in your life?
You.
I was homeless for a little bit.
Yeah, the trip.
Not like your typical homeless, but like I was sleeping in the car. It was interesting. I don't know. I had fun actually on that trip though. Like it felt like I was homeless at times, but at the same time it was like I know I'm not. You know what I mean? So it wasn't. I don't know.
But like, go back to it. Like, how do you like decide who to keep around in your life?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't think it's an active decision. I think it's more of like a subconscious decision because there's certain people in my life, for example, that I know are valuable, and I'm gonna keep them around. But it's not like I wake up and I'm like, how can I keep these people satisfied? How can I make these people happy today? Like, it's not necessarily like that. It's just like we all kind of go about our lives, and then the people that I enjoy being around and that enjoy being around me, we continue to do that, and then a relationship builds. Like, that's how me and you became friends. But we started hanging out little by little.
I'm kind of the opposite, though. Like, I do wake up in the morning, like, how do I, like...
We're different.
Like, how do I, like, be the best person that is in different lives? Because everyone perceives, like, you or the relationship you have with somebody else differently, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I do think about that a lot, where it's like, well, this person sees me as a very strong entity that they can go to talk to, so how do I maintain that? Like, what do I need to do today to do that? And other people, like, see me as, like, maybe someone that jokes a lot, so I have to be like, well, how do I continue to be, like, a very, like, entertaining person?
But those are all core to you still. Like, I've thought about this a lot because it's kind of a chameleon approach, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And everybody does it a little bit to some extent, I think, where you're trying to kind of, depending on who you're around, you kind of impress different people or say certain things or do certain things because that's the identity you've built with that person or that group of people. Mm-hmm. But I think that like there's a huge piece of it that people don't understand, and that it's all you. Like, all these different pieces that you're talking about are all you still. Like, they're all your core self, and you're just showing off different pieces of it to different people at different times. But it's not like you're really changing, I don't think. I feel like you're still kind of the same, and you're just emphasizing different aspects of your personality.
So would the answer be to the question, surrounding yourself by people who share the same traits as you?
I think it would be surrounding yourself... Well, see, this is different, though, for you and me. Like, for me, I think it's to surround myself with people that appreciate me for my uniqueness. You know what I mean? And vice versa. Like, the people that I enjoy being around are all very, very specifically unique people. Like, they're all very kind of, like, odd or, like, weird or, like, you know what I mean? There's always, like, little things.
Something that makes them different.
Exactly. And I love that, and I appreciate that about my different people around me. And so for me anyway, I think it's when people appreciate the uniqueness that I bring to the table. And I think everybody's like that a little bit, but for me, that's probably, like, the biggest factor.
Well, everyone's technically unique in perspective.
Yeah.
So everyone sees things differently. Your green might be my red.
Yeah. Let's not get into that. I've been thinking about that since I was in middle school. Like, what if we see different colors?
You know, it's funny you bring that up. Middle school art class is when I first started thinking about that.
It's wild, though, because you could be seeing a different color than me, and we'd have no idea. Like, how do you test that? How do you know? Because you can't even really, like, they say, like, color is not really a thing. You know what I mean? It's like your interpretation of different reflections and refractions to get the color that you're seeing in your head. But it's your eyes and your brain working together to show you.
What is a conspiracy?
I don't know. Let's be done on this topic. We're getting too deep. We're getting too deep.
What else did you want to talk about?
So we wrote down some questions just in case we didn't have enough to talk about, because this is the first time we're doing this, and we're doing this off cuff. So hopefully it's not too awful to listen to. But we wrote down some questions in case we got a little stuck. So, Doug, would you like to pick a question off the list here?
So, sure. A lot of these questions I brought up because what you asked me to do is think of stuff like your high school self wanted to know. Yeah. And my high school self was clueless.
Like, well, I think everybody in high school is clueless. But you might think you know what you're doing.
Well, we'll go into this a little bit, but it's just like you're very inexperienced when you're young.
Yeah.
And you haven't lived a lot of life.
Like the fish in the fishbowl.
Yes.
We've talked about this before.
So I'm going to read you like 3 different questions that all relate to each other.
Right.
It's, how do I succeed? How do I get everything I want? And how do I know what I want?
Those are big questions.
Because what you want is what you'll, like, go try to achieve. But, like, is that good for you? And how do you achieve that?
See, like, the reason that I feel like this question is so difficult to answer is because it's a constantly evolving question. It's not a question that has an answer. So, like, for example, just in my case, you know, when I was in high school going into college and stuff, I had wanted to go into law, and then I wanted to go into accounting, and then I wanted to go into finance. And I pursued all these different paths, but then they didn't work out because for whatever reason, for different reasons, they didn't match with me. So then I ended up going into marketing in college, and I loved it. You know what I mean? And then so my plan from there was to go to Texas, but COVID happened. So, like, my point is that all these different things that are, you can't really predict, and there's no way to know. So you have to just kind of play it by ear and keep going, and, like, hopefully it works out.
That neutral mindset.
Exactly. Because I always had these goals in mind. Like, throughout my whole life, I've always set goals every year. And, I mean, every month. Like, I'm really on setting goals.
You're not neutral on those goals. Like, you're set on achieving those.
But they constantly change. Like, every 6 months, my goals change drastically.
But, like, you're not neutral when you're saying, I want this.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the way I would explain it is, like, when I write down the goals, those are the goals that I have in mind at the time. But with 6 months of time passing, those goals get modified.
I don't think that's being neutral, though.
Why not?
Because you're actively seeking something. You're actively wanting something.
Well, see, that's the difference, though. I don't think that's not how I look at it. I'm not looking to, like, I don't want something. I'm not like, oh, I want this. I want that car. I want that house. I want this much money. Is what I do is, like, I have an end goal of, like, this is kind of how I would like my life to be structured. You know what I mean? And then I try to work backwards and basically figure out what I need to be working on and doing in order to continue to build myself.
And if it works out, it works out?
If it works out, it works out. But the goals are there to make sure that I have a place to go. Because, what's the guy's name? Zig Ziglar. If anybody's familiar, he's a motivational speaker. Zig Ziglar has this quote that basically says, if you are the best bowman, or what's it called?
Archer?
Archer, there you go. If you're the best archer in the world, and you can hit a bullseye, you know, and then split that arrow, like, right in the middle every time. Like, if you can do that, but then you put a blindfold on that archer, there's no way he's going to be able to hit the target. And so the theory behind this, like, little saying is that if you're the archer and you've got goals in mind, being the target, and you can see them, then you can hit it. Whereas if you don't, if you're blindfolded, then you can't aim for anything. So for me, like, my goals are a target, but it's not like I need to go get that. It's not like that's it. That's what I need. Like, that's my life's goal. It's just that it's a place to work towards, and that's why the goals keep changing too. They keep getting better and keep getting worse and keep getting harder or easier. Like, there's all these different aspects that keep changing.
So how do you find your target?
I don't know. I really don't know. Well, I just hope that the work is going in and it's going to be helpful in the future somehow.
I've figured out a target to start with this year.
Which is?
So let me just preface this with, like, we're at the end of this year, and I think most people at the end of every year are very, what's the R word? Reminiscent?
Reminiscent.
Reminiscent, and, like, look back on, like, what happened, and, like, I learned a lot this year.
Yeah.
And one of them was a little bit of the purpose of, like, what is my target? And I figured out just through a lot of various good and bad experiences that the target for everyone, kind of like a human condition quote, is, like, to start with happiness.
Yeah.
Because, like, I can work 100-hour weeks. I can be the most, on paper, successful person. I can do all the right actions. I can basically work like a robot for the next 80 years and achieve everything that other people see as success, the pinnacle of success, of having everything. But what gives anything you do meaning? And I think, like, what gives life meaning from a psychology point of view is how you perceive things. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I want to perceive my life happy. I don't want to, like, perceive my life as, like, a tragedy, you know? So I would say, like, one purpose in, like, where you should aim your goals is to be happy. Yeah.
But it's very broad. Well,
it is very broad.
I guess, like, I just thought of a good analogy. So when we go to the gym, obviously we work out a lot.
No,
we're both into fitness.
I'm thin as a rock.
You lost some weight, though. I don't know if you guys noticed or not. Doug's a little lean over here. He's got, what are you, like, 195?
Actually, no. Before I came here, I was 203. I'm back kind of normal because
203.
my stomach's expanding again because I'm eating again.
Whatever. But anyway, so with the gym, whenever we go to the gym, it's not like, and probably everybody else too, you don't really have like a goal in mind like, hey, when I'm 50 years old, I want to have this dimension for my abs, and I want my pecs to have this specific shape, and I want my like veins to be this wide. Like, you have no real like set goals for the gym, you know what I'm saying? But you go in there knowing that you want to get bigger, and you know that you want to get better, and you know you want to be able to lift more weight, and you know you want to like be able to be more flexible and be able to maybe like throw more punches better. There's all these different aspects to it where you're always trying to improve, but there's not necessarily an end goal per se. And that's kind of how I would say I look at my own goals in life, is kind of like the gym a little bit, because I have goals that I'm setting, but they're not like the reason that I'm at the gym. I'm at the gym in general to get bigger, to have fun, to feel good, to get like a healthy, way of living.
How would you teach someone that like that should be a target of theirs? How do you teach someone to go find that?
What do you mean?
So if you found someone that came to you and was like, I've never heard of the gym before. What is this place? What is this setting up? What is this temple?
It's a magical place.
How do you teach them that like this is like a target for you? This is like an aspect of your life that you pursue. It's a goal of yours. Like, how do you teach someone that?
I think it depends, because every person is so different. Like, we've been talking about this pretty much the whole time, but I'll use my brother as an example, because my brother just kind of got into the gym like maybe 8 months ago-ish, something like that. Mm-hmm. He's relatively new to kind of being consistent in the gym.
Yeah.
And so when he first started, like, I've been trying to get him to work out for years, because it's a passion of mine that I wanted to share, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so when I started getting him into it, I think what really clicked for him was like, I'm growing up now. Like, that was the thing that really like helped propel him, was like, I want to be a man, I want to grow up, I want to be like able to defend myself. So like the things that resonated with him were those things, but it could be different for every person, is my point.
But why did he want those things?
I mean, I guess we'd have to ask him. I don't want to speculate, but I would assume just in general, like, it's probably a biological like imperative. Like, as a man specifically, you probably want to be seen as a more like dominant like person, you know what I mean? And so in order to do that, you probably have to, like, in your mind, be a little stronger, be a little bigger, be able to defend yourself a little bit.
But to go back to the question, is that like really good for you? Because that's kind of like a societal standard.
I don't know about that one. Like, I love that you're playing devil's advocate, because I love debating about stuff like this with you. But I think the gym is a universal. I think every person on this earth should work out to the best extent that they can.
I agree. There's no reason not to exercise.
Yeah. And like, I mean, we're young and like we have our circumstances, yeah. But whenever I go to the gym, it's just like I feel the best that I do in any part of my life. Like, I wouldn't say it's like the highlight of my day every day, but it really does make me feel really good. It motivates me to do the things after the gym, and it also gives you a really easy way to structure like a healthy life. Because when you're going to the gym, you're probably going to be eating a little bit better, and you probably like are being a little bit more aware of like drinking water and maybe not drinking soda and things like that. And then you've also got the aspect of like you're going to the gym every day. So if you're consistently doing that, you're probably more likely to consistently do the other things in your schedule. So like, to me, there's literally no downside to going to the gym.
What do you think your confidence would be like if you never found the gym?
Nothing. I would have no confidence.
How would you live your life though without the gym?
Because like, here's the thing though. It's not just the gym that gives the confidence. I'm saying without the gym, the confidence wouldn't be there. But it's not like a straight up comparison, because the gym is allowed me to structure the other things in my life in a similar way. Because like the premise of going to the gym is you go in there, you've got work to do, you set out, to do this many reps, this many sets, this much weight, and you're constantly wanting to improve little by little. So basically the gym is a way to set a goal, like reach that goal, and set objectives and reach those objectives, figure out how to do those things. And then you've also got a social aspect at the gym, because you have to deal with like, hey, this guy's on the machine, or this guy's like coming to talk to me, or I'm, in the way or whatever. Like, there's all these different things that go on, and I think it's kind of just a good analogy for life in general. You know what I mean?
I saw you going this way too.
I was, because it's so, you brought it up.
It's my fault.
I love going to the gym. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite.
The gym has taught you about life, eh?
Because it's just like your body is a temple. You know what I mean? It's your own body, and everybody has their own body. It's like a little ecosystem. So in my mind, I try to manage my ecosystem to the best ability. Like if I'm Mother Earth, you know what I mean, in my own little body, then like I want to make sure that it's being properly maintained and taken care of, and like it's improving. So like the gym is the best way to do that, I think.
So to play off the last question we have, where do you belong in the gym, and relate that to life? Where do you belong?
Rephrase this.
So if the gym is a great example for life because there's obstacles, there's social obstacles, there's personal obstacles, there's obstacles that aren't a being, they're just there. There's a name for like natural obstacles. I forget what it is. Like, how do you find where you belong in the gym? Like, how do you reach your homeostasis, as you would see? Like, or in my case, like, how do I find like my like? I almost feel like my goal in the gym is like have a territory. Like I want to claim or like be known for like something in the gym.
So maybe that's how you kind of approach life. Like that's what I'm saying is I think it's different for every person. But I think if you're in the gym working out and it's something that you start doing consistently, you'll have a very good idea of how you handle problems in your regular life, how you go about reaching goals in your regular life, how you go about interacting with people in your normal life. Like I think it really has a good, like I don't want to keep repeating what I'm saying, but I feel like it really does have a good like overview of how you kind of approach things in life. So if you're saying that you want this little territory in the gym, that seems like it lines up for me. I mean, it seems like it makes sense to me.
The other day we were together and doing like I don't know what kind of like full body or upper body workout we were doing in the gym, but we were doing deadlifts.
Oh, it was back day.
And I've never done like 315 before. And that that's 3 plates on it.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of weight. And it's a big problem. I had like a lot of like people I felt like I needed to prove I felt like I had to like do what I said I was going to do because like the weight's there. We put it on. We said we're going to do it. Like like there's no turning around. There's no taking off the weight. So I have to approach this very like obviously like heavy obstacle. And the way I just kind of approached it was like I took a second, got my mind right, did like the things that like I know like motivate me and I know that like work for me, got into that headspace, and I didn't really focus on anyone because I just focused on the problem.
Yeah.
And then I approached the problem and I was like, oh, this is a lot of weight. This is a lot.
But you did one.
I did.
And that's the difference between you and other people, is some people wouldn't do that. Like you tried. Okay, let me recap real quick. Doug got on the bar and he went, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think this is going to happen. And then I was like,
that's right.
Just go again. Just go again.
I didn't do it the first time.
And you put the liquid chalk on and you got it.
I actually forgot about that part. Like, I tried it once, and I just couldn't do it. And then someone offered, like, some help. And I was just like, all right, you say that I know this should work, so let's do it.
Yeah.
And
you did it.
And I did it. So how did...
That's what I'm saying. It's like the same, bro. The gym is an analogy for life. It's all the same.
So what does that mean for me? I picked it. Does it mean, like,
You had a challenge.
I had a challenge. I hyper-focused on it, and I tried it. And once I tried it, I was like... I'm okay, like taking a step back until someone offered help and it was like, we'll try this. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to do it again. And I gave it more effort.
Yeah. Well, I think when you first started, like you grabbed the bar and you tried and you couldn't do it, I think that you in your mind, you're kind of like, it's just not going to happen. Like, it's not that I don't want to do it. It's not that I'm not trying. Like, I saw you busting a vein in your neck. So it's not for a lack of trying. But it's like, at some point, you do have to know your boundaries and be like, I'm not going to be able to do every single thing that I'm setting out to do. Mm-hmm. But like you just said, once you got offered the help, then you did it.
Why do you think I call you for like help all the time?
I love receiving the calls. By the way, if anybody has my phone number, call me anytime. I love taking calls. Checking your watch? Is it time to go?
It is time to go.
Is it time to wrap this up?
Yes, it is.
Well, how long have we been recording here? Let's check. We're at 34 minutes.
Right on
So,
time.
if you guys managed to stay here for 34 minutes and 55 seconds, thank you. We appreciate it.
Oh,
we
a little
also appreciate that you guys... We're done. We're done. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy and appreciate it. And it's Absurdity. We drew this thing out this morning, so hopefully you appreciated that too. And I don't know, like, maybe we'll do this every week. Maybe we'll do it every other week. If you guys could leave some
feedback,
just like any type of feedback, like whether you like the videos that I normally post, like a more vlog style video, if you guys enjoyed this, you know what I mean, more, or if you want both of them. Like, I'm trying to figure out kind of what to do with content. Don't smile, though.
Either way, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to tell us how we're doing. We'll see you guys next time on Absurdity.
On Absurdity. Peace out.